This is how we do it. Howdy ho people, I don't know, it's your resident blonde Asian over here, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts, my feelings, a review on the Omlet Geo 60. We have Clark and Templeton here. I don't know how this is going to go, but you can see them just fluttering around having a good time. I'm just glad I can include them. In my previous video, you saw me build this cage out with my own fingers and love and a Phillips head screwdriver. Yes, birdies, I know. It was a journey, but I will save that for this video. Heidi ho, it is your future blonde Asian, and I am here to insert some information that I got from Omlet regarding the shape of the cage. Again, this cage is a geodesic dome-shaped cage. It is not a round cage, okay? I got some flack on my other video, and I really felt the need to clarify. So I will read you the email I got in reply to my questions regarding how to explain to people that this is not a round cage. Hi, Blonde Asian. Thanks for reaching out and totally understand your position, as we hear the same thing pretty frequently. The short explanation is that the Geo bird cage is not round. Rather, it is a geodesic dome, the construction of which provides many small corners along with the doors, perches, other accessories, and proper placement in the room allow for birds to feel safe and oriented. As a longer answer, we usually provide this statement. It's great to see so many people passionate about bird welfare. At Omlet, we are also committed to the best pet care possible, which is why we thought we would give you a bit more information about the design of the cage. Like all our products, the Geo bird cage has been researched and developed over many years to provide a safe, comfortable, and hygienic habitat that, along with correct nutrition, environmental conditions, and companionship, forms part of a bird's overall care. Any cage, regardless of shape, should be positioned in a well-ventilated room away from direct sunlight, ideally against a wall or in a corner. That's where I have mine. Positioned in this way, birds in any shaped cage will benefit from being able to perch looking out onto the room. How fun! It is this, rather than the shape of the cage, which will give them a sense of comfort. Other ways this can be achieved is with furnitures, for example, bookshelves or plants. This principle applies equally to all shapes of cage. A square cage placed in the middle of a room provides no more sense of security to a bird. A square cage placed against a wall benefits from the wall in the same way as an alternatively shaped cage. If you are thinking of keeping pet birds, you can find lots of really useful information here. I'll put that link in the basement. And then the email continues in reply to me, so that was their statement. I think it's important to point out especially that we do work with animal experts in the design process to provide a suitable environment for any animal we design products for. I hope this would be suitable to form replies to the feedback you are getting. But if you think there's anything further we can do to help, can you please let me know, and perhaps if you could link the YouTube video, I could pass that along to my marketing team to work with you to address some of the feedback. Thank you, Amanda, Omlet Customer Services Team. May your chickens be healthy and your eggs beautiful. So that, I hope, gives you more insight into why I bought this cage. It actually did kind of hurt my feelings that someone would think that I would go for vanity over functionality. Yes, the cage is beautiful, but to me, after I did the research, I said, well, it seemed like a no-brainer to me. So I hope that helps you get a better point of view and you understand the difference between a round cage and a geodesic dome cage. Thank you for listening to The Future Blonde Asian, and back to the video. And let's talk about the company. The company is called Omlet, not spelled like the food you eat, but it sounds like it. And it was founded by a group of friends sometime in, I think, 2003, according to their website. They got together and they designed what I believe is like a chicken coop type thing, but for placement in a garden to keep it moving and make it a lot easier to maintain. And from there, you know, we have the Geo60. These people are actually the founders and the product designers. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm gonna talk about my building experience. If you watched it, I know it was a long video. You saw my triumphs and my tribulations. If I were to grade this on a scale of 1 to 10 for building, I would say it's probably, for me, and I'm just being honest, at like a 5 or a 6. That sounds low, but it's really not low. I'm only saying those numbers specifically because of how much I messed up. I felt stupid. Like, not like my feelings were hurt stupid, but it's just like, really, why didn't I just use my brain? You better be focused because it's very easy to get the parts kind of in disarray, and it just makes it a little less easy to assemble. I did make boo-boos, but it clearly wasn't impossible because they're living here. Don't let my inability to focus deter you from getting this birdcage aviary. While I was building it in that other video, you probably noticed that I had some questions, and I did email customer care. One of the questions I had was about the instructions themselves. I kept talking about how I saw a video, I had the paper instructions, I went with the instructions even though I did watch the instructional video. The response I got was that the paper instructions are not updated as frequently as a video, which totally makes sense. It's easy to just go. The next thing I asked about was the gray ring. Obviously, the instructions indicated, since I had finches, put the ring on. It's a situation where a bird, a larger bird, like let's say a parakeet or something, may not need that little like ring to perch on to eat. I feel like they did a lot of research, and that's something I can appreciate. In regards to the stand, I said, oh, I saw it with a lower stand, right? But they only had the tall stand, and even though I bought this as like a refurb or whatever return, they were only selling brand new tall stands, and the reason for that is it's not available in the US. For some reason, I guess Americans can't have a shorter stand. I actually like this height, and they say you like it, right? They like it. And then I asked about like these things, these like little Jimmy Bobber things, because you saw me, I counted them all out, and then I had 3 left over, and I was like, what did I do wrong? Well, I was actually supposed to only have 2 left over. I actually missed 1, and it was missing 1 for probably, what, like a month, I want to say. So that says something about the cage itself and the design. If you could be missing a Jimmy Bobber thing and it's still functional, that's really good. The extra 2 are just that, they're extras. So if for some reason, I don't know what reason you would need to replace one of these, but they are extra. So why did I want this cage? How did I get here? What's my name? Where have I been? I'm about to tell you. I wanted a cage that was aesthetically pleasing, but also provided the right environment for my finches. Obviously, if I couldn't find a pretty cage to sustain what they wanted, I wasn't gonna just buy some pretty cage and have them be miserable. That wasn't gonna happen. Finches need a lot of fly space if you're gonna keep them in their cage. And those cages tend to be long like this, not like this. Now, the cages that are like this, they're pretty plain, you know, and they do have tall cages that are actually very beautiful. However, that's not what these birdies need. They need that space to, look at them, look at them. Yeah, I know. They need that room. Now, all this stuff I'm saying about fly space or whatever, I'm not a professional, I'm not a zoologist. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but it does make sense to me. Since these aren't birds who climb, I mean, you climb, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you do climb. But they fly around, so they need the space. I have 2 male finches, and the Geo60 is meant to accommodate 2 zebra finches, well, not zebra finches, but 2 finches, 2 canaries, 2 parakeets comfortably. I have 2 males who are literally the most handsome birds ever. So in that essence, the Geo60 fulfilled that brief. And the final reason that finally made me decide to pull the trigger on the Geo60 was that my birds don't stay in this cage the whole time. Now let me explain. I do believe in the movement of engage, not caged. I knew it was going to be a little more difficult with birds like finches because they're not the kind of birds that like to sit on your finger or necessarily bond with you in that way, although they like you being around. They're just not those kind of birds. There's a door here and a door here. I open it and I let them fly around and eventually they go back into the cage. Now this cage, it allows for them to hang out. Like I see them hanging out here. There have been times where they were a little naughty and they didn't want to go in, so they slept on top. I just feel like because this cage is so welcoming, they have no problem leaving and coming back. So I knew that my chances of being able to engage with my birds would increase if I gave them a habitat that they would want to stay in. So now the part of the video that you probably want to know, pros, cons, and I do have some neutrals. So let's start with the pros. Pro, this cage fulfilled the brief, right? I wanted something that was pretty, and I wanted something that would make my birdies happy. So, I mean, they're happy. And this cage really helped me get my birds more engaged with my living space and all of that. Pro, the Geo60, the Geo60 is very easy to deep clean. You seem very excited about that. Most cages, they have like a tray and you put like paper in it and then you take out the tray or put it in, take it out, throw away the duty paper and then, you know, put the paper, put it back in. And that's fine because you can clean the tray, but you can't clean this part. But if you're someone who doesn't allow your birds out, that could become kind of cumbersome and just like not very nice to look at. And it's like, who wants to live in their own poop? Don't answer that question. But the design of this cage allows me to really get in there. Now, I did make a video on it. Link is in the basement. And you can see how I clean this cage. Pro, the feeding station is very lovely. I like that it is a gravity feeder. It's less messy, but there is some mess that comes with having birds that fly around. You know, I do have to sweep probably once in the morning, once in the evening to get any like little seed shells that they might produce. But I love the design of it. Again, I like that it's gravity. And the water. I don't know if you can get like that weird like slimy film. I've had this cage since September, so it's been a couple months. But that hasn't happened yet. But there isn't that weird like slimy, mixed slimy in the bottom. The position of the feeding station also allows you to like see the birds and it's really cute like when they're on there just like ding, ding, ding. And the final pro that I have on my list is the doors. But there's one there. Oh. And one up here. Now, I consider this a pro because while you're building out the Omlet Geo, you could put the doors wherever you want. If you watch the video, you could see like where I'm like deciphering, oh, I'm gonna go put this door here. This is the door that I normally open for them. They fly out and then they come back and they hang out and they kiki. Being able to position the door. So I guess that really alludes to the design. So that would be a pro, which was kind of a number one, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, like anything else, there are good things and not as good things. These cons aren't heavy cons, but they're cons that like, oh, I never would have thought of that kind of thing. So here we go. Cons. The feeding station. I know I just went on and on about how great it is. However, with my experience, when I put this in, they didn't know what to do. It made me really sad because they would tap at, let me pull it out. They would continuously like tap at this, like thinking they could get the food. At one point they were both standing on top, like tapping at it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, my birds are gonna starve and I'm the worst bird mom in the universe. I guess that was more of a me thing, but also they are animals and they'll figure it out. I did let customer care know about this, and they said they were going to forward it to their design department. They haven't heard of anyone having this issue. To remedy this, I had, you know, they have their millet like hanging there now. So I kind of just like laid it across here, and then they eventually figured it out. Next on my list is something I call part apprehension. That's dumb, but when I was building it out, these clip things, I was very nervous. I was going to break things. Like I said, it's not a con because that's how it works, but you know, that could be something that puts someone off on this, you know, because if you break something, how do you get a replacement? Their customer care has been helpful, but I mean, I feel like that would take a moment to arrive so you could finish building it. So as you can see, I have added in my own perches. I have this perch here, and then there's like a little nail grinding one over here. I even have like, I made this coconut. I'm proud of myself about that. Because the planes, I'm calling these things like planes, the planes are on an angle. Even though these like, the grates are pretty standard, they're always gonna be kind of angled, whether it's angled up or angled down. I do have the original perches in there, which are straight, but for some reason, maybe it's just me being a human. I know in nature, tree branches aren't, you know what I'm saying? I understand that, but for some reason, when I look at that, it kind of feels like, oh, is that comfortable? Like, I don't know, but they you know, they use the perches, so that really can't be the issue. Yes, I have these two perches, but it did take me a week or two to get settled on these perches. If you get something that's probably over 6 inches, it will extend over the central feeding station. So they will poopity poop on top of those. So I was cleaning those a lot when I was trying to sort out what perches I wanted. So the perch size becomes kind of limited. You know, if I'm at work or something and then they do a duty into their water, like I don't want that to happen to them, because I could have, you know, chosen something that could be better for that kind of situation. The final con on my list is the price. I paid $123.06 for the cage, which you can just buy the cage. You don't have to buy the whole set. And the stand costs $57.24. And this was the refurb part, and I bought this part brand new. I could see price being, you know, a subjective matter, but I think it's well worth the value for how happy they are, how easy it is for me to care for them, and actually engage with my baby birds. Now we're gonna mosey on down to Neutral Town. First neutral opinion I have. I'd like to take a moment to note that I have changed my position on my neutral point of customer care. I now consider it a pro. During this recent holiday season, I was emailing more with customer care, and I would receive responses within 24 hours. I need to give credit where credit is due. The customer care. Although I got all the answers I wanted, I emailed them on September 16th, and I did not get a response until the 23rd. For people who are used to things being instant, like Amazon Prime or whatever, that it almost felt like a moment to get a reply. However, I felt the reply was personable and they answered my questions. It wasn't just a stock, thank you for blah, 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 you know. Another neutral point would be the building. If you aren't willing to be patient and just focus, like I'm making it sound harder than it is, but it's really not that hard. I feel like that's like a neutral thing because it isn't throw the birds in there, you know. But whether or not I would have been able to buy this assembled or build it myself, I'm ambivalent. My final neutral point that I have about this cage pertains to the liners. If you're someone who likes to use paper, that might be a little cumbersome. I don't know because I didn't try it, but when I saw how easy it went in, and I was like, oh my, I was sold on it. It came with 10 complimentary liners, so they probably knew that's how I was gonna respond. So they're like, here's 10, so you're gonna be hooked on buying them. It makes them a lot easier if you just buy them, but I feel like if I was really in a bind, I could probably take apart like a grocery shopping bag and trace the shape and call it a day. Because I do put some hay and some coconut, the hair stuff on the bottom. So, you know, just depending on what you line your cage with, the liners might not really apply to you, so I'm neutral about it. The function is good, but having to buy them, I'm neutral about. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you like the words that I'm using, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give me a like, leave a comment in the basement, and Clark and Templeton are happy to meet you. Take care. Bye!